In the previous video, we discussed one of the questions that I've received regarding scaling up your dental practice or group. In this video, we're going to talk about another question, which is practice valuation. I get asked a lot, how much is my practice worth? Or how do you value a dental practice or a group? Apart from being a dentist and as a certified valuation analyst, I know in general businesses are valued according to three methodologies. The first one is asset-based valuation. So let's say you have a convenience store, or if you have a company that has a lot of assets. The value of your company is more or less the value of your assets. The second methodology is revenue-based or income-based valuation. For dental practices, you really want to know the earning potential in the future. So you analyze the earning in the past and anticipate the future based on the revenue from the past. You calculate a cap rate and you do the math based on that. The third method is the market-based approach. You basically want to see what other practices sold in the same market. Same industry, same market. You do like a comparison. In the dental world, we typically use types 2 and 3 more often. You want to know what your income potential is, what your revenue potential is, how are you going to generate wealth in the future, but you also want to know what's the market value based on what was sold in the past. But why are we talking about this when we can be discussing it with the experts? We're here today with Michael White and Associates, MWA Advisors. Let's see what he's up to. Hey, Mike.
How are you?
How are you?
Good.
Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, come on over, have a seat.
Mike, thank you very much for having me today. I won't take much of your time. I just have a few questions about valuation.
Yeah, sure.
But before we start, let's tell everyone who's Mike White and what do you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I appreciate you coming up. It's always great to have our clients come by, and especially our dear friends. So we're a tax accounting and advisory shop here in the North Dallas area, North Texas area. We've been focusing on the dental healthcare space since 2010 for around 8 years now. And we're excited. We got a great team, about 50 folks running around the office today, but we serve clients nationwide. And we've really focused on driving value and improving the business performance of our clients.
Wonderful. Well, we were talking earlier about practice valuations. I do get asked a lot, how do I value my practice?
Yeah.
What is my practice worth? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. We get asked that question all the time as well. And as we all set out in business, we want to have a plan. And first, kudos that they're asking the question, because we always want to think about the end. What is that plan? What are we striving for? But really, when you start thinking about valuation, it's how can we improve that valuation? What are we doing every day to drive that performance? When you look at valuations, whether it's a solo practice or a multi-location practice, and we'll get into both, we're really thinking about, let's start to a solo practice. Big drivers to improve that performance is, frankly, starting with bookkeeping. So often I see bookkeeping that comes across, like basic accounting, one of our lowest cost things that we can do here. So often I see that come across and it's just not taken care of. It's thought of as, oh, don't worry about it, it's just the accounting. Anybody can do that. But those little things are driving poor performance, making it hard for you to get bank loans to expand your business, making it hard to share and improve the performance of what you're doing, possibly even take more money home day to day. But it's certainly going to drive poor performance on the back end for valuation purposes. And those little things, when you start multiplying that times 5, 6, 8, 10, that's a big problem. And it's a thing that costs millions to some of the clients that we've seen coming in here.
So you say, if I'm a practitioner and I have a practice and I want to increase my value of the practice, I should start with solid bookkeeping?
Solid bookkeeping, yeah. It sounds easy, but solid bookkeeping is where we want to start. With good bookkeeping, we can do good planning, we can do good tax planning, advisory, and really help drive performance from there.
So Mike, if I have multiple locations, what do you advise me to do?
First decide whether you're doing multiple locations for yourself, or is it because everybody around you is doing it. I was just at a conference you and I were just at in Arizona not too long ago, and I spoke to so many people that came up to me and were just like, hey, should I be doing what everybody else is doing? And my first question is, are you happy doing what you're currently doing? Yes, I love it. then why change? Don't chase somebody else's vision. Make sure your vision is empowered by what they're doing and you're excited by what you're doing. Utilize those opportunities when you're meeting strategic partners to figure out what your vision is. So what we start with the multi-location is, what is your plan? So many people will say, I want to get to 50 locations. Great, let's get to 15 first. Let's get to 20 first. Because there's big tipping points as you're scaling and growing your DSO or your multi-location group that you really have to overcome, and we want to work through those methodically. I want to know what the end goal is, and we want to get there, but let's get to those tranches first as well along the way. So that's where we start, is we want to set out with that vision, figure out what they want to accomplish, and start road mapping that out for them.
Excellent, valuable advice. So Mike, we did talk about financial and how to button up my bookkeeping to increase my value. Is there anything I can do operationally to increase my value?
Absolutely, yeah. And I love the question, because so often people are like, oh, I need to build a DSO, I need to build my legal structure, which you absolutely want to get that buttoned up and tied out. But operationally, we got to think, people are going to want to buy us because we have a replicatable model. So have we built a system that somebody else can come in? If you think McDonald's, of course they've grown, phenomenally because they have a replicatable model. So you can go to McDonald's here, you go to McDonald's in Austin where you guys are, and you're going to get the same burger. And so it's key when you're starting to think about, what am I building to? And that even goes into acquisition methodology. If you're buying a practice, are you buying it just because it's a great looking practice, or does it really fit the model of what you can run? I've seen so often practices try to convert to other people's success. Medicaid practices that try to go to PPO, they don't know how to run a PPO practice, so they're actually devaluing themselves because they don't know how to run a good PPO practice. So think about really what you're building and focus on building that to the best of your abilities and scaling from there.
So Mike, I get asked a lot. I run everything through my business. My car, everything through my business. If I do that, I get tax benefits. However, I may not get good valuation because my expenses are too high.
Right.
What do I do?
It's a great question. What we typically recommend is setting up personal entities, management companies, if you will, especially if you have partners and one partner has a nicer car than the other partner, or a better cell phone plan than the other partner, or whatever it may be that they want to run through. And you really focus on, okay, what am I running through? What is my purpose? And how can I assign that to a different entity that doesn't dilute the practices I'm trying to possibly sell? So we try to maximize tax efficiency every time we do everything, while also not devaluing the practice. And that's so critical and key from that standpoint. And that's really what we focused on. So manage, when you're running through your accountability, manage the tax side of it just as well as the bookkeeping, but don't run your business based on tax savings.
So Mike, you've gave us valuable information and we talked a lot about different aspects, but how do I stay on top of all this?
Yeah, I think it's so critical to build your team. Every presentation I do, every time I talk, build your team. Whether it's me as your CPA and your advisor, or somebody that you really like and you enjoy, just make sure they're holding you accountable to your goals. It's so easy for us to look at our checking account in the morning, or look at our end of day report every day and see, what is that, did I do good yesterday? But on the grander scale, how does that look, and how are your advisors and your team members really driving performance for you? And as you scale and grow, as we go from the solo location to multi-location, what does that team look like? It's got to be able to grow with you.
So Mike gave us fantastic advice today. To sum it up real quick, he said, build good financial systems where you have bookkeeping teed up. Number 2, build systems and processes that are replicatable. Number 3 is build your team to make sure that you're accountable and follow through. Mike, thank you very much for having me today. We've learned a lot from you today, and I'm sure we'll have more questions and we'll come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Look forward to having you guys. Appreciate you coming into my home today.
Just remember, every dental practice is like any medical entity or business. All departments have to work together coherently to achieve the ultimate outcome, which is exceeding patients' expectations, growing your community, and achieving profits for the stakeholders. Don't forget to watch my videos, my other videos, and subscribe.